Mr. George Eke, a legal practitioner and a member of the PDP, joins us, but he will also be talking about developments within the People's Democratic Party and as to why are they not giving us this credible opposition, for want of words, that Nigerians talk about. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you so much.
Let's start off with the challenges within your party. It's almost like an albatross preventing the party from moving forward. Do you think there'll never be an end to this fractionalization of the party?
Well, there's no doubt that a good democracy will require a credible and viable opposition. Indeed, without it, you can't be talking about democracy. The opposition should naturally come from different sources. It doesn't necessarily have to be from the party alone. Those days, student union groups were good opposition groups. Individuals were even good. We remember the days of Ganifa Emi and all of that, But you see, we are like boxed into a corner where we are looking at opposition from one direction, and that's probably the second largest. I mean, the
political opposition.
Yeah, political opposition. But political opposition can also come from these sources we are talking about. But then that brings us to why the PDP crisis need to be resolved, must be resolved as a matter of fact. Because people have talked about other platforms. Other platforms will also be people from either APC or PDP. And they'll just come under another name. So what we'll be looking at now is a leadership recruitment process and change of orientation, whether they are in APC or whether they are in PDP. Because the alternative will now be some group of people will come under another party. But they still have the same orientation.
Who will address that challenge?
Good. I mean, see, that's part of what we're saying now, that it is a learning process, that challenge has presented itself now. And that brings me to why there is this problem in PDP. In summary, it is the high wire power game of governors.
It doesn't look so from what we gathered from DG, who just spoke.
No, I'll tell you how. High wire power politics from governors. The same governors forum that put Jonathan into trouble. In short, that is the reason President Jonathan must avoid a coalition of these governors. Whether they come as governors forum or they come as a governors front or whatever. Because they are forever looking for power and influence. Indeed, they have even...
Isn't that all what politicians are looking for?
Well, see, there are certain times when the thing becomes detrimental to party politics. Even President Jonathan has even suffered it. They put undue influence on him and undue, almost like intimidated him into giving them the bailout funds, which they never used. Of course, you and I know that most of those governors are still owing the salaries of those states for which the bailout fund was given to them. The governors are like termites. And that is what the problem of PDP is. I tell you what, they on their own, you naturally brought in this sheriff that everybody now looks at. In short, on their own now, they described him as, one of the governors made an analogy that if you marry a wife and find out that she now has HIV, all you need to do is to walk away from it. Now that they think Sheriff is politically HIV positive, as it were, and they have run back to the board of trustees that warned them initially not to take Sheriff. In other words, it's like their fingers were burnt. You may not like Sheriff. He may not have a very large pool of goodwill. He may be operating on a very narrow moral platform, given the fact that there have been this allegation of he has a contact or that he was the mastermind of Boko Haram. Of course, every politician has some scandal that comes to him. Once you come out for election today or for any public position, you'll be surprised somebody will do a research on you and tell you that your grandmother arrived in your village as a prostitute. You'll be very surprised. That must be something that they throw at you. It's not even peculiar to Nigeria, even abroad. Even in developed crimes. Remember when Obama came out newly? One of the Americans said that he's uncomfortable with this man who cannot tell Americans his middle name. That this man's name is Husseini. And at that point in time, America was grappling with Islamic fundamentalism. So it's almost like he was hiding his identity from them. After he addressed that smear, as it were, they now came with the fact that he smoked Indian hemp, that he was taking weed. Obama had to admit in that instance that he smoked Indian hemp because he was at that point in time, seeking his identity, had an identity crisis, whether or not he was black or white and all of that, and that he had stopped. They now went for his Christian faith and said that he was associating with Reverend Wright. I'm giving you this example as clean, as neat as Obama is. He still had some scandal. So, of course, back to the sheriff we are talking about, the Boko Haram scandal was what they put on. Even when the man had tried to deny that, by even saying that his own blood brother, was killed by Boko Haram, how could he have sponsored that? But of course, they still took it against him. And that has robbed him of a lot of credibility. That's why I said he has a narrow political credibility, and he is working on a very small, political goodwill. Having brought him, I'm talking about Wike, Fayose, and all of these other governors to become the chairman of PDP. Please remember that it was like Sheriff was the person that injected life into PDP at that point in time. Because at that point in time, everybody has scurried to safety. Nobody, so apart from what Fayose, there was no PDP. Nobody could agree that he was a PDP. It was only when Sheriff came.
Governors who were PDP governors.
Good. I'm talking about those who could agree that they are PDP. It was only Governor Fayose that was talking about PDP. The other person that talked momentarily at that point in time was Lisa Metu, until he got into handcuff and scurried to safety. There was no other PDP. In short, it was not even fashionable to be PDP at that point in time.
Why? They all smear themselves?
Say that again.
Did they all smear themselves?
No. It was just that nobody wanted to be PDP at that point in time. The reason was that PDP was toxic.
So why did they want to be PDP now?
That is, you are making the point. It was because Sheriff now came and started establishing structures. As a matter of fact, by the time Sheriff came, everybody started creeping out from wherever hole he was and all of that, and people now started claiming to be PDP. All of a sudden, PDP became what he used to be. A man who was able to do that. But you know what now happened? The governors felt that in attempt to do this, Sheriff was establishing his own structure.
Wasn't he?
And the truth of the matter is that he was. He was establishing structures for PDP, but the governors felt that he was establishing those structures for himself. This is the truth that they have not told Nigerians. In all the 23 local governments, the 23 states that APC had governors in, Sheriff was establishing PDP structures in all of them, leaving only the 13 states or so that PDP had to the governors. By the time the governors realized that here we are with 13 states, and this man has no less than 23 states. In short, in some states that the governors the PDP had governors, he established structures. And when I talk about structures, you as a politician, you know what I'm talking about.
But you heard the governor say that he approached one or two of them, that he wanted to vie for the #1 seat in the country.
That was when they now realized that this man, if he's left, that he has almost taken over this PDP, that he just came in less than 2 years before then. You get the point? So they retreated, almost like they touched a hot plate, and ran back to the board of trustees. You remember when Sheriff was trying to do the convention in Port Harcourt? Professor Jerry Ghana was the person, the arrowhead, that organized a counter, or what appears to be another convention in Abuja. The reason was that he didn't want to be taken into the sheriff's own structure, or at least own arrangement. Look at the irony of it. Professor Jerry Ghana now headed a reconciliation committee that was going to get Sheriff back into PDP. Look at the irony. The BOT that had opposed everything about Sheriff now constituted a reconciliation panel. And quite recently, they said they have they made how do you put it now? They gave a vote of confidence to the McCarthy group. The first law in arbitration is neutrality. Once you are not neutral, you have lost the position of an arbiter.
Did you ever expect politicians to be neutral?
No. At the level of board of trustees, you have to.
You have to be neutral?
The young man who you spoke to now, your last guest, kept talking about founding fathers and all of. These are people who are not probably aspiring to be either governor or president or whatever. So they are the conscience of the party. They want
Was it a good move bringing the former president into all of this, talking about President Obasanjo?
You see, when politicians are looking for credibility, they go to all lengths. You go to all lengths. You will seek the help of everybody. And when you are looking for a particular position or a particular interest in a party and you don't get it, you can go to quite a number of other places. One of which is, look at what happened in the Port Harcourt Convention. Dokwesi has been trying to be the chairman of the party. That is about the first time in PDP somebody was visiting PDP constituencies in their states to become chairman. What we know in PDP is that they just appoint, say, Sulai as the chairman, and then point to him that that's going to be your chairman. Then we now just ratify it at the National Convention. That's the first time somebody was doing that. Do you know what they did? I'm talking about this team, the same power game that I'm telling you about. They zoned him out of the race. You see, because you see, part of what we are trying to do in PDP is that let us walk away from that impunity that we talked about, which we said, that which we identified was why we lost election, impunity and imposition.